7, they pay my visa. Apex and MasterCards. I got blue money, and it's all cash. I got blue bags, and they all collapse.
Mm. Welcome back to the playthrough. We're sovereigning, we're corroborating, and today on the Dragon Quest X, we will be going through Sovereign Quest. I believe this is 802. Essentially, it's the start of the Pukuland saga, and then we're going to finish up the Glen saga, okay? Pukuland actually has two quests. Some of these sovereign areas, they make you do things before you run through the dungeon. So this is one of them. I believe in the next episode, or I might go over this one and we'll do a little bit more. But on our next recording, we'll get the Pukuland done. But for now, we're gonna go into the Sovereign, um, on the mountain top, over in Glen. Fun stuffs, fun stuffs. Hope you guys have been enjoying the quest, this little walkthrough guide, a little casual style that I like to do it. And today, as you can see by the title, we are talking about awareness and defense power. And this is going to be a kind of a long, wandering back and forth story about this, but I'm sort of relating it to this wonderful occupation I've chosen for myself for now that may or may not make me money in the future, but who really cares? I'm having fun doing it, right? So we're chilling, we're chilling. Anyways, let's get started, guys. Let's get started. Hope everybody's having a good whatever day I upload this on. And to start off this quest, this chat that we're gonna have here, um, I'll just say, the world shapes our brain. You know, that's just a fact of life. You know, all the opinions, all of the facts that we learn, all of the things we decide to not focus on, all of the energy we put out um, into the world and how it affects it. It shapes us, right? It shapes our brain, but then also, our brain shapes the world. So I've always been aware to some extent of this mystical power, this mystical, um, I suppose, cycle of nature, and I talked about this a little bit, the little bit of the soma loop cycle, where it just keeps going and it feeds back into each other. That's kind of how social media algorithms have learned to control us, because they've learned that if you tap into this cycle and allow us to think that we are actually morphing the world through just our talks, our sayings, you are morphing this algorithm to constantly feed us more pleasure, but really not getting it, and then getting back into the cycle, then they learn, that's how you truly gain worldwide control, dominion, if you will. But that's not really what I'm going over. The awareness is what we're tapping into, and I never really understood why I wasn't comfortable, with the eyes on me, with people hanging around me, with people who are just like in chats, just sitting there, just soaking up my energy with people who are even like when I go on walks. Sometimes I go on walks and then I be dancing and jigging and grooving to my music or whatever, and I didn't even feel comfortable with people like watching me or doing things to me and stuff like that. And that's the thing, man. That's the reason why I really am not a huge fan of live streaming, because I love watching live streams, and a lot of the live streamers I watch, I notice I really enjoy them, um, because they see chat as people, especially the women. The women, especially that. Some of the guys I enjoy for live streaming just because they're good at the game, or just because they're entertaining. But I'm noticing more and more, because I'm starting to watch a lot more VTubers now, that what I really do like about them is that they do, in fact, whether they are a huge, over 1 million subscribers, Hollow Live star like Crony, or they're like some small, mid-sized Twitch streamer, or even super small streamer, they really do view every message as a person sitting behind a computer and giving them energy. And I'm incredibly fearful of that. Because as a girl, or as a anime woman, you can kind of relax in the fact that they are there probably just for your aesthetic, your voice, your general energy of love and comfort, right? But as a guy, I feel like, especially as a small creator who has generally no value besides like the art I produce, for me, I just have a hard time latching onto the fact that you're here to not destroy me, to not be envious, because I can deal with jealousy. I can deal with people, you know, like, oh man, I wish I had his voice, his aura, or whatever the fuck. But I really am scared and fearful because I feel like a lot of times when people watch you online, it's not jealousy, it's envy. You know, they kind of want what you have. They want to absorb your channel. You know, they want to become your mod. They want to own your monetization. You know, they want to show someone this video that you made and have the reward go to them. Like, oh my gosh, friend, person, buddy, old pal, thanks for showing me this video. And more I'm realizing that that fear of being too close to the public is just the reality, the awareness, you know? And it's something that is really never gonna go away with just what I've learned in life. Because generally I am a very loving person. I like to spread happiness. I like to see people happy. I don't like to even to the people I love when they are hurting me, I don't like to show it. You know, I kind of just hold it in. And even as a young child, I didn't really understand why. You know, I would invite friends over to my place. We would laugh and have fun and have a good time. But when my friends pissed me off at my house, I would kind of just shut down. I would kind of be like, I don't know what to do with this. So I remember way back in the day, I would go completely nonverbal, and my friend would literally, because we were like young kids, we were like, you know, middle school, high school area. And I would literally just go nonverbal. I'd be walking around the house, and he'd be following me around, and I'd just be like, I don't want to talk to him, so I'm just not gonna talk or look at him. And it was just the funniest thing. It's like, why don't you just tell him that you're a little pissed off? He was like, no, I can't. I can't. And of course, that's counterintuitive to actually, you know, solving your problems with the people that you love. But, you know, until we learn that not everybody is like us, not everybody has this internal defensive mechanism for, you know, the people around them. And of course, not everybody moves with love. This is crazy to find out. But yeah, a lot of the world will blind you to think, especially a lot of the political climate will blind you to think that everybody is moving with love and compassion, and that is just completely untrue. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a lot of, you know, safety. It's a lot of fear, you know, and of course the fear and the love can't go together. But all in all, not everybody has the same objectives, the same agendas, and you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of that to rise above it, to rise above it. And honestly, there really is no way to be above it besides just not caring. That's sort of your rise, you know? You have to still do what you need to do. And not caring doesn't mean you just sit in your bed and, you know, goon to VTubers all day. You have to still care about what you do, the people that are in your life, the world you are inhabiting, you know, stay connected to this realm and still keep producing the love and the work that you need to. But you have to not care, and that hurts me a lot. I feel like this is probably how, you know, women just naturally go through life. And thinking about that hurts me even more. It's like, Jesus Christ, they feel, and I literally like feel this through the goddamn screen or TV. It's weird, you know? But it really seems, it's a feeling that I just detect in some VTubers. And it's cool because I don't even detect it in all of them, you know? But there's just a feeling that they sense their people in the room and they connect with them wholly. When a chat message comes up, they're like, that is a person, and I have to acknowledge them and treat them, you know, as I would want to be treated. And for me, like, the whole live streaming fact of that just scares me because I know how easy it is to be absorbed by that world. And I don't want to, this is one of my horrible complaints about people and fears and hypocriticisms, but I just hate being fake, you know? I hate that sort of, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk like I super care about you, but I really fucking don't. Because maybe deep down it's like, that's me, you know, that's who I am, because you can't really care about everyone, man. But my mind won't let me forget things. You know, as I've said before many times, my mental illness allows me, you know, I'm not even gonna say, you know, forces me. It allows me to constantly think, okay? And then I have a choice to turn it off or not. But it's not gonna do that automatically. And thus, I remember a lot of things. I hold on to a lot of memories, and I have to actively shove them down, to not care about, to not put them at my forefront. So for me, action takes a lot of the weight off of just the general anguish of existence, the general anguish of my awareness of my existence and everyone else's existence and everyone that I care about and kind of care about and side care about and all the side characters and all the background characters. I like forcing my brain to take an action and just lock into that it does me a lot more, help. Because of course I could sit here and lull over everything and send the perfect text message to this person and make them feel happy. But where does that really get me? The answer is nowhere. Because, I've lived almost 30 years of life and I am here at nowhere. So, results of my actions, right? But I suppose, I say all this to say that distance tells the most truth and silence brings the most clarity. Okay, so I really understand that streaming is an art form. Okay, this is not Omegle. This is not, whatever other chat service. What's that shit called on FaceTime? Yeah. This is not FaceTime. This is not a Skype call. This is not texting your friends or whatever, blah blah blah. It is indeed an art form, and I have to remember that. It just doesn't seem like it sometimes, because I suppose nowadays you really don't have to use it like that. And like any tool, who needs to use a hammer to beat in a nail? There's 8 million uses for a hammer, okay? And a lot of them don't got nothing to do with nails, right? So here's the thing. The way I'm going to use live streaming is to have to be the same way, and it probably shouldn't be the same way that I enjoy live streaming. And you got to think about that too with whatever art form you decide to go into, whatever creative process you get into. You may want to be a welder, but the way you do welding may be different from your exact teacher that taught you welding. And it's not like I can watch these streamers, who have the awesome, VTuber avatars, who have the awesome gameplay, personalities, whatever. It's not like I can watch them and I'm like, ugh, can't take anything away from there. Got to get it out of there. You know what I'm saying? You use everything in your disposal. You use all of the pieces of the tools to get where you need to be. But I need to notice and just understand that, of course, we all know the enemy is always lurking. But it's okay to let them lurk. You can't live in that fear. And luckily, I think I've done a pretty good job of not just standing still. Of course I still feel the fear, but I hope, I don't leak it onto you guys. I hope I leak awareness onto you guys. And maybe that turns into fear, but the love should always be portrayed. I feel like anybody trying to teach you something or bring you to the next level naturally has love for you. Just in my eyes. And even if they do hurt you in the process, like, you have to acknowledge that there was love there. A lot of people don't just kill people for no reason. It's like a Thanos situation. And what's annoying about Hollywood nowadays is they're kind of trying to trick us into that. Be like, no, man, people just do bad things because they're bad. And I'm like, no. All this crazy shit, like the crazy shit that was happening on the subway, and I'm sorry I'm getting into real life here a little bit too much, guys. But the crazy shit that happened on the subway with the Ukrainian girl, the Irina Ruska, and that horrible dude. You think some people really out here just thinking he's just stabbing people to stab people. No, bro. There's always a reason. That is a cry for help, okay? There is no one who has been in and out of jail over 10 times who does not need help, okay? Okay? And that's his life. He's been in and out of jail. And of course, nobody fucking gives a shit about him. He's just unsupervised on a goddamn subway, mumbling to himself, probably on drugs. No one in his life cares about him, especially not the system. So what does he do? He cries for help. He says, I'm gonna get that Russian girl so that somebody notices me and somebody starts to love me. Because it's trapping, it's encapsulating. I feel like a lot of us could easily be drawn to a situation, given 1 or 2 or 3 bad decisions. And that's all it really takes, guys. You gotta realize we're all on that edge. And that's why I say the enemy is always lurking. It could be one of my very subscribers that in my life. And I would be like, yeah, sure. God said it's supposed to go this way, so it's fine. I'm chilling. I do not give two flying fucks. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we had a good ending. But that's the thing. I am aware, therefore the fear will be here. But I just can't stop it from making me take action. That's the main thing. That's the main thing. And luckily, I really am liking the actions I'm taking. I'm using all of the skills, all of the assets I've learned throughout my life to just build a better one. Build one that works around me, around my work ethic, around my personality, style, my amount of grace. The amount of love I am able to give. Because that's one thing that I was a little just frustrated just working all these retail jobs, working gig jobs for other people. It's like, I don't know, man. When I first did, one of my first music jobs for someone, and I turned it in within like a couple hours, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I love how fast this was, and this was amazing. This is exactly what I needed." Blah 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 blah. And then now that I think about it, of all the commissions I've done, I think that's the greatest response I've ever gotten for turning it in fast. Nowadays, and it sucks because I only really remember these now. When I immediately think about turning things in fast, I don't think about that one. I think about all the times when I've turned things in fast and people are all like, "Oh, this is really good," or like, "Oh, I'll send it over to the editor to see if it's really okay," or, "Oh, you got this a little bit like this." Some people really criticize me for the file name. The file name. When you can't change the file name yourself. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. And then I think about some jobs that I've had that really praised me for coming in on time. And then eventually, they turn into, "Oh, I came in early. I talked to my other boss, I'm saying, "Hey, can I clock in real quick?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, sure, whatever." And then, my other boss comes in late. And they're like, "Hey, why'd you come in early? You just gotta tell me first." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you wanna talk? You wanna talk? Let's go back and talk. Let's go back and have a nice little conversation about this. Yeah, how dare he come in early when there's people in the store and I'm working right now? Literally while you're coming in, I'm doing work. And you're mad at me for coming early." And it's the small things like this. Just let me know the enemy is always lurking, man. And sometimes it's lurking within us, These people could have came to me with all these things with zero evil intentions. But that evil intention comes to me. Because of course, as we go back to what we said right at the beginning, the world shapes our brain, and our brain shapes the world, okay? So you gotta remember, guys, a lot of times all these people need our silence. All these people need our distance. Just to stay away. Keep the love to yourself. The people who need your hope will find it. And that's why I don't really focus on SEO or making these super manageable to find for people or whatever. People are finding it. People are finding it. It may have taken a little bit. I kind of wish it took longer, but people are finding it. People are loving it. People are gelling with it. And combining their own personal experiences with what I have. And that's all I need you to do. That's how I view this as a success. That's all, folks. Sorry. That's how I view this as a success. If somebody sees my story, alchemizes it, combines it with their story, and then suddenly they got a nice little soup of understanding with them, little understanding soup. Ugh. Oh my goodness. A little pondering porridge. little clarity clam chowder. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. Let me stop. That's all I really need. And that's what you need to do, guys. You realize these topics and think pieces and news articles, they're not really to teach us things. They're there to make us believe things, okay? That's why I don't really like to focus on the news. I focus on my perspectives on the news, my general experiences about life, which is just, all comes down to take a pause, breathe a little bit, hold your own hope, and really listen to yourself. Really listen to yourself, because I assure you, you know what you need to do. A lot of people are just lost because we are looking so many different places because, the outer world shapes us and then we shape the outer world. So you're looking at all these other places and you're just jumping in this horrible cyclical nature of Soma. You get that little inkling of pleasure at the top and then you roll right the fuck back down to the bottom. And I mean, who's to say I'm not in that cycle right now? Constantly, but it's the awareness. It's the awareness that makes me fearful that I will never get out of it. That fear. But I know if I don't live in the moment, then the fear will never go away. And that's all we really need to do. The actions help me with that. Of course I take pauses. Of course I think about the future. But the action always has to come. Has to come quickly. You know what I'm saying? We not fast. We not fast. And we ain't embarrassed about it, okay? Always think about your next action, and just move towards it. It doesn't have to be fast, but as long as you got that objective there. We were talking about this in the comments a little bit, actually. You know, you just have to have an objective. You got to have somewhere to go. And then you'll move there a little bit faster. You know, it may be marginally faster, but we're not really focused on getting there in a better or more permanent way than somebody else. Also, this is a unique boss, so this is pretty cool to see here. You really don't fight too many big beefy ogres, and now he's dead. Good job. But yeah, it's a struggle to realize what we really need from life. It really is. It really is. It's annoying because it's like, well, to figure out what you really need, you need to like cut a lot of shit out. You know, to silence a lot of people who may be there just to help you. You know, you feel like the asshole. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you. Oh my god. Don't be sorry. Please don't be sorry. Please live your life. That is all. That is my one request. Please live your life. Live your chrono pro bono sotono no wono life. Just live it. Just live it. That's all that anybody should be asking you of. And yeah, more and more I stream, I notice, especially for us smaller streamers, it's a very, very addicting, but hard process. I definitely feel for you smaller streamers. It takes a certain amount of mind to do this and not just become encapsulated in it. You know? So that's why I'm embracing my time here. I'm not really, you know, focused on how many chat messages or views or whatever I get. I'm not really just focused on that, although that is, you know, the forefront of my mind. I can't focus on it. I have to focus on just the material that I'm doing. And it does feel good to do it. I will say that. And that's why it can be so addicting. It just feels nice to get online and get on stage. And that's something I've always loved about acting and being an entertainer. I've always loved to just be there. But as far as like hanging out and having the people just around me, it's something that I need to not get used to, but find a rhythm in. Because I don't think there's ever a time, or there ever should be a time, where I'm just comfortable and nice and, you know, just seasoned and coasting around basically any kind of internet community. I really don't. I really don't. There are some nice communities, but even mine, I have to uphold a standard, you know? A standard, and not to say not to say that you know, I'm gonna be strict and uptight, but yeah, me in relax mode is probably something you'll never see, because I don't let myself see that. I let the relax and the tension and the focus energy all come to one. I balance the chakras. And I honestly don't think the whole letting loose on the internet thing and you know, shedding our layers for our community and letting them see all of you, I really don't feel like that is the true way. You know, you should become a fully embraced and whole person and then bring yourself to the internet. But that's just my perspective. You know, I decided fully on my own terms to cease on the process of this until I was ready. And you have that choice as well, but you know, I suppose not everybody has the same amount of time and the same amount of resources. Life is long. I appreciate you. Subscribe if you want, and I will see you next time.
Fucking with me, man, I swear that's your final mistake. I ain't felt love for myself in a minute. I guess this division, I have to escape. I have my wishes get granted for riches. I just need a business to funnel the cake. Let me explain. I ain't had shit for a minute. Was living a bad life, staying with Zero and Jay. He talking talk telling 10, but he tame. I got the weight, bitch. You lacking, I'm laughing. This shit ain't a race, bitch. Talking on Discord, say to my face, bitch. I bet in person he saw lane switch. Right wrist, I saw it going on stainless. Like shit, I just be forming arrangement. Me in a game like this, arraignment. I'm out the purple, my lens like Rayman. Huh. No, you cannot talk about no money. This grown man talking about bags right now. I promise I get to my money was broke as a joke in the past, no laughs right now.